You're watching Newsnight. Well, for an assessment of the state of local government reforms 1 year after the Supreme Court's landmark decision on their autonomy, we are now joined by Akala Samuel, who is a technical assistant to ALGON, and Umar Yakubu, who is the executive director at the Center for Fiscal Transparency and Public Integrity. He is representing the Agora policy tonight on the news. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on the news tonight.
Thank you for inviting me.
Well, Agora decided to hold this forum today, bringing together stakeholders, concerned stakeholders in the entire value chain, if you can say that, to discuss why 1 year after the Supreme Court's judgment has not been implemented. What was the outcome today at that forum for you?
Well, the outcome was to rehearse what you just said, the premise you just gave about 1 year after Court of the Land, which is the Supreme Court, highest court of the land actually, has given a judgment of something to be implemented. Yeah. But all we hear are whispers and silences about how to implement or why it has not been implemented. Yeah. Nobody really knows what's going on or why you cannot implement a simple judgment. So today we had the forum today, which was organized by Agora Policy. They're the lead organization. I'm just a partner from Center for Fiscal Transparency, and the cable were involved as well. So we sat down with critical stakeholders, and the Honorable Minister of Finance was there today, other stakeholders, to explain why that you can actually have a legal argument where the judgment has said, the courts has said that it should be implemented. But there are other political and administrative things to look at, and that's why it's taking time. That they need to engage, there needs to be a lot of stakeholder engagement, and there needs to be, the buy-ins of the people at the local government level, and particularly the state governors, they need to be buying. So that was the consensus. But the truth is, we have to look at it deeper, that we're running a democracy, and when the third arm of government, which is the Supreme Court now, the judiciary, and the highest court of the land gives a ruling, I think we should find a way of implementing it immediately, unless there's a caveat that says maybe there is not time bound, you can take 2 years or 3 years to implement a judgment.
Great. Let me come to you because, and just to remind our viewers, ALGON is the Association of Local Governments of Nigeria. So you are the ones in the eye of the storm here. Tell us why nothing has changed 1 year after the Supreme Court judgment. Some say the state governors are the biggest obstacles. Is that true?
Well, at our own level at ALGON, yes, we're supposed to be the beneficiary of the judgment. Yes. Because the judgment is meant to strengthen local government existence and its operation in Nigeria. So I won't say the state government are the obstacle because they are not in custody of the funds. It is actually the federal government who went to court to say, look, the joint account hasn't been working. Local government are not getting their funds as is supposed to, as envisaged by the provision of the joint account in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Went to court, sued the 36 states to the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court delivered judgment in favor of the federal government. The federal government is in custody of the funds. So the federal government constituted a committee where ALGON and other critical stakeholders, including unions at the local government, talk about the NUT, the NOLGA. They're all there, and issues were trashed out. And at our own end, we have done all that is needed to be done by the local government councils. So one cannot really say why the payment has not commenced. The state government, I can't sit and say they are the obstacle because they are not in custody of the funds. Okay. And so, and this judgment, the Supreme Court made a very declarative statement to the effect that the judgment takes immediate effect. There was actually an order for immediate compliance.
Yes. Mr. Yakubu, I'll come back to you, but let me stay with you, Mr. Samuel. There were reports that ALGON members have refused or are reluctant to open accounts with the CBN, and that's why the monies have not yet started coming to them directly. Can you clarify why your members are not opening accounts with the CBN?
No, that's not true. The local government is a creation of the Constitution. They are entities of government. So to the best of our knowledge, what the CBN needed us to do, we've done them.
Oh, so, what exactly is that, and why is it that you're not getting the funds directly yet?
Because it hasn't, the Federal Ministry of Finance have not effected payments. There's no payment whatsoever, and there's no instruction to payments yet. So there's basically no story that local government refused to open whatever account.
Have you opened accounts with the CBN?
The CBN can go ahead and open accounts
on your behalf.
Yes, without the local government going. We are a creation of the Constitution.
Great.
We are not private individuals.
So from what I hear, Mr. Yakubu, the federal government is sabotaging itself. It went to court, got this landmark judgment. 1 year after, we're still not getting the funds at the local government directly. And we have the Minister of Finance at this forum today talking about collaboration. How do we make sense of that?
Yeah, what they have pushed us to do now is to have some deductive reasoning now. You can't go to court and file an action to say you want to do A, B, and C. Now, the court gives you a judgment to go and implement. Now, like my colleague here just said, all it needs to do to implement, the Central Bank of Nigeria is an arm of the federal government. It will take it a day to have a list of the 774 local governments, and another day maybe to open those accounts for them, and probably another 1 day to credit those accounts if they want to. So now we're forced to start thinking of what they are not saying. They are not telling us why they have not done it. But like I said, from the explanation of the Honorable Minister today, is that sometimes when you have a law or you have a judgment, engagement needs to take place. That could be valid and valid argument. But they should come out to tell us what those issues are or why they are not implementing it. If you are engaging stakeholders, because the truth is there's low capacity at the local government level, whether we like it or not, you could decide to push those billions and they just go down the drain because they are not built to the capacity. Now I'm assuming the minister has not really said so. They should come and tell us, okay, we want to build the capacity, we want to have accountability measures on ground, we want to have all the mechanisms to show that these funds go to what they are meant for before we transfer them. Now, if they're giving these explanations, then you can go back and understand. But right now, we're not hearing much, apart from the engagement today, where the minister kind of gives some explanation. And
that explanation, you really are not banking on it. It doesn't look like he was able to convince you why this has not happened 1 year after. Did he convince you why this has not happened 1 year after?
Halfway. For him to attempt to come and try to explain is a step forward, you know, before we're in the dark. But now at least we'll have some level of argument that this is what they are doing. Once the process is completed, though he did not go deep into the details, because there are two things, political and administrative. But did not go details into what those political arguments are, what the administrative arguments are. I'm just making this case for the admin because we know the local government structures are weak now at the low level, subnational level, so they need to be improved. But they should come and tell us why that is the reason and why they are not complying with the Supreme Court judgment. Well,
like you said, you're not speaking for the minister and you do not know what his thoughts are, but this is a thing that has been shared by several people. We had a guest here last week who talked about capacity at the local government level. A lot of people say local government chairmen simply do not have this capacity to handle the kind of monies coming their way. ALGON, do you think you are financially and administratively ready to handle financial autonomy, to deliver good governance to the people in the grassroots?
I don't know why we keep talking about this capacity thing. I am a local government chairman. I've served my term. Now I work with the ALGON Secretariat. Nobody can tell me that I do not have the capacity to apply funds, okay? So I think the issues of capacity, it's when you make funds available to the local government and they are unable to apply them, then we can bring the narrative about capacity of local government. I tell you, we had NEC just last week, and amazingly, we decided to make a 2-day activity. The first day was an engagement with federal MDs and state governments and development partners. And then a lot of them were like, so we have people with this kind of capacity at the local government. Why Nigerians are not seeing that is because funds are not made available to these administrators of local government to show capacity in management. So the issues we have at hand is not about capacity of local government. Make funds available to them and see if there is no capacity to apply them. As we speak, ALGON, since the judgment, we have been engaging a lot of upgrade of capacity of local government in terms of budgeting, in terms of digitizing processes, in terms of ensuring that we have website in our local government where the public can access certain information as it regards the local government. We partner the ICPC, the EFCC in a lot of trainings to see that we're proactive in terms of accountability and fiscal discipline in our dealings. So I do not think, and I do want to subscribe to the argument that because there's a low capacity at the local government level, all levels of government suffers all of that. But because the local government now is at the receiving end, everyone thinks that it is people thinking that the local government do not have capacity. But I assure you, there are a lot of capable hands at the local government. I know that there is every room for improvement, but as we speak today, the local government is ready to manage its affairs and has the desired capacity to do that. Well,
it's a good thing that local government chairmen do not have immunity, so they are open to investigations and Nigerians can hold them to. I'm told that we have to go, but what next? In 20 seconds, let me start with you, Mr. Samuel. Where do we go from here?
The federal government should effect payment, direct payment to local government, and then we take it up from there.
Okay. Mr. Yakubu?
Yeah, we should comply with the Supreme Court judgment, but when we're talking about capacity, it's not in terms of the academic qualification of the structures they have. We're talking about accountability mechanisms so to deliver. Sorry, just a second. I remember there was an argument when there was a long argument we should remove fuel subsidy because states need more money.
Yes.
Now this fuel subsidy has been removed.
States are getting
more money. But what do you see on ground? Mere nothing. No state governor is building industries. Salaries are not increased. Roads are not being built. That's what we're talking about. The accountability mechanisms below.
All right, and this is a job for everybody, including Nigerians, to hold them to account. I must thank you both. Mr. Kala Samuel is a technical assistant to ALGON, and Umar Yakubu is the executive director at the Center for Fiscal Transparency and Public Integrity. Thank you both.